Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 18A assignment. Okay, so first one, for each scatter plot below, state whether it's positive, negative, or no association between the variables, whether the relationship between the variables appears to be linear or not, and then the strength of the association, which is 0, weak, moderate, or strong. So this one here appears to have, for the most part, a positive. It's definitely positive. It makes a nice straight line, so we go with positive, linear, and it's not really quite strong, but it's definitely not weak, so let's go with moderate. Moderate strength of association. Okay, so positive, linear, and moderate. This one here makes a much nicer line here. This would be, since it's heading down, it would be negative. Is linear because it's not curving at all, so linear. And this is pretty strong because all the dots are pretty close to that line, so we'll go strong. Okay, this one here looks like a shotgun blast. There's no real association there, so there's no association. Right? And then it would, since there's no association, you can't tell if it's linear or not. And then it would be a, gosh, that just doesn't make anything at all. So I'm going to go with 0. It's got 0 association. Okay, where the strength of the association would be 0. Okay, this one here, got a little bit of a curve to it. So this would also be negative. It is not linear because it's got a curve to it. Not linear. And that's pretty close to that line, so I would go with probably strong on that one. Okay, this one here makes a pretty good, nice, straight, positive line. It does make a nice straight line, so linear. And this would probably be a moderate one as well. Okay, and then this last one here looks like it kind of starts here, and that starts going up like so. So this is also positive because it's heading up. It is not linear because it's got a curve, good significant curve to it. And this one could be, it's definitely not strong. It's not weak. Let's go with moderate on this one too. Okay. All right, number 2, copy and complete the following. If the variables x and y are positively associated, then as x gets bigger, so basically if we've got this here, as x is getting bigger, since it's positively associated, then y will also increase. Right? So if it's positive, as x gets bigger, y gets bigger. Okay? There's a negative correlation between the variables m and n. As m increases, so we're going to have to assume m is first in the alphabet, so that's going to be like so. So it's negative. So as m increases, n decreases. Okay, and if there's no association between the two variables, the points on the scatter plot appear to be, call that randomly scattered. Okay. All right. Moving on to number 3. The results of a group of students for a maths test and science test are compared with this data here. Construct a scatter plot for the data. Make the scale on both axes from 60 to 90. Okay, so we just got to sketch ourselves a scatter plot here. So let's make ourselves a nice scatter plot going on here. Okay, and it says make the scale on both axes from 60 to 90. So this one here is going to start at, say, 60 here. So let's go, I don't know, 70, 80, 90, and then same thing here. So we've got 60, 70, 80, and 90, and now we're just going to plot all these points. So this here, we're going to let this be our, where traditionally our X is, and then this is going to be our Y. So this here is going to be the math scores, and this is the science scores. Okay, so let's put little 5s in between here just to make it a little easier to graph these. Okay, so 64 and 68. So here's 64, 68. We're just roughly sketching these in. 67 and 73, roughly there. 69 and 70. No, sorry, 69 and 68. Let's see, I messed this last one up. Sorry. That's. Oh no, I guess I had that right. Sorry, 67 and 73. I had that right. I was reading it backwards. And then we've got 69 here and 68 here. So, right, probably about that. Those two should be roughly in the same line since they're both 68. 70 and 75. 73 and 78. Again, we're just roughly trying to get these in here. 74 and 73. 77 and 77. 82 and 84. 84 and 86. And then 85 and 89. Okay, so construct a scatter plot for the data, make the scale on both axes 60/90. So there's our scatter plot. It is a positive, looks like probably a positive strong correlation. Basically that the higher that they score on their math test, the higher they're going to score on their science test. All right. All right. 4, scores awarded by 2 judges of diving competition are shown in the table. Constructs a scatter plot for this data with Judge A scores on the horizontal and Judge B on the vertical. Okay, so let's sketch another one of those. All right. So let's see. A is on horizontal, so this is Judge A. Let's put this down right here. And this is Judge B. All right, so let's see. A's got to go between. Looks like the low is 2.5 and the high is 9. So let's just go 0 to 10. So that's 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, roughly there. Let's see. This one, that goes up to 9 as well. Let's just do the same thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so there's 5 and there's 10. So construct a scatter plot. So we'll do 5 and 6 here. 6.5. So there's 6, 6.5, and 7. Roughly in there. 8 and 8.5. 9 and 9. 4 and 5. 2.5 and 4. 7 and 7.5. Let's see about there. 5 and 5. 6 and 7. And then 3 and 4.5. So we got that. Copy and complete the following comments on the scatter plot. This appears to be a positive and strong correlation between Judge A scores and Judge B scores. All right, so positive, strong correlation towards Judge A and Judge B. This means that as Judge A scores increase, Judge B scores also will increase. All right? Okay. Moving on. Number 5. What's it meant by the independent and dependent variables? So the independent variable basically is the thing that you get to control, right? And the dependent variable responds to the values of the independent variable. So depending on what values the independent variable has will have an impact on the dependent variables. Okay, give another name for each of the variables in A. Okay, so they in our text it tells us that it would be explanatory and response. So independent would be explanatory, independent would be response. And when graphing which variable is placed on the horizontal axis, we pretty much always put our the independent variable will always go on the horizontal. That's the thing that's always the x, and then the y always depends on the x. Okay, so not really much to write down. That it's just a little explanation there. And then last one, number 6. For the following scatter plots, comment on existence of pattern, positive, negative, or no association, relationship strength, 0, weak, moderate, or strong, whether it's linear, and whether or not there's any outliers. Okay, so this first one here looks like there is no association. Okay, so no association. Again, it's just kind of all randomly scattered throughout there. Okay, so then since there's no association, then the relationship strength would be 0. Okay, and then it's not making any kind of pattern at all, so that's officially non-linear because it's not making a line. Okay, and it doesn't really, there's no real outliers. There's nothing that's way away from all the rest of those, so no outliers. Okay, this one here is definitely a positive relationship. The pattern is positive. The relationship strength, you could go with, they're fairly scattered out. It's not hugely different than that, but you can definitely tell that they're related, so we're going to go with weak. Probably would accept moderate on that one too. It is linear because it makes a straight line. And then there are no outliers on that either. Okay, this one here, to make our line through that, kind of looks like so. So this would be negative. Okay, doesn't make a perfectly straight line. That's pretty darn close. That's pretty good. So we're going to go with strong. Okay, does not make a straight line, so non-linear. Okay, and then there are no outliers on this either. No outliers. Okay, this one here, pretty similar to B here, positive. These are a little bit tight, closer together, so we're going to go with moderate. It is linear, and there are no outliers. Okay, and then we've got this one here is definitely a nice strong, well, it's negative first off. It's negative. Line dots are all really close to each other, so it's strong association. It is linear because it goes straight, and no outliers here either. In fact, doesn't look like there's any outliers on any of these here at all. This one here appears to be something like that. That would be positive. Okay, association there, it's pretty similar to this one, but not as more scattered out as that, so we'll go with moderate. Not linear because it's curved, and no outliers. Okay, just to help out with one of these, like if there was a point right here, that would be an outlier. They didn't give us anything like that anywhere in here, but that's what an outlier would look like. It'd be kind of way away from the rest of the data. Okay. All right. That's all there is here for 18A. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.